Hi guys. I got actually two gadgets in front of me, and I'm doing a live simultaneously, both one in Facebook and the other one here in YouTube. Yeah. I did the live video a few days ago in Facebook and in TikTok, where I spoke about the rapture. Because like 3 weeks ago, more or less 3 weeks ago, I heard or I became aware of this um, rapture talks that has been going viral in social media. And somehow it started with this South African pastor whose name is Brother Joshua. And he mentioned that last 2018, he received a word from Jesus Christ himself. Jesus Christ appeared in front of him, and face to face, Jesus spoke to him about the rapture, that Jesus is coming back to, take the church. And there was a specific date that was given, and that was September um, 23 and 24 of 2025. And this was also connected with the feast of the feast of the trumpets, in that one of the seven feasts that the Jewish people were celebrating. And actually, the country of Israel, as well as the Jewish people all over the world, they actually just celebrated the Feast of Trumpets, September 23, starting September 23 to the September 24. Um, yeah, I was even I also found out in also in social media that the exact time of the celebration was like 6:36 p.m. September 23 until 6:36 p.m. the next day, which is September 24. So that was the 1 day celebration of the Feast of the Trumpets, and that is the reason why Brother Joshua made that mentioned that the rapture was take place between September 23 and 24. That is actually the very explanation for it. But guess what? It's already September 27 and we are still here. Actually, I've uploaded a live video before, and I've made some short videos where I did make myself clear, in a sense that I made my stand known, which is I am against date setting. I was never in favor of it. Even though when I heard about this date uh, 3 weeks ago, or yeah, more or less 3 weeks ago, I was really not in favor of it. Because there has been a lot of predictions that already happened in the past. Um, and, and guess what? We're still here, you see. And same thing, there were some predictions that happened in the past, and then later on they corrected the dates, saying that there was some miscalculation. And even though they came up with new dates, we're still here. So yeah, this thing about the rapture it really went on a frenzy. uh, and so last September 23, 24, this brother Joshua even created a what do you call a live stream in YouTube, called, I think, the Great Exodus, and they were like, it was viewed by more than 500,000 people. And they were like, there were other people with him in the live stream, and they were together like worshiping or sharing, basically waiting for the rapture to happen. And uh, as we all know, it did not happen. And of course, after that, Brother Joshua became silent. A lot of other people who also went viral went silent. By the way, aside from Brother Joshua, okay, other people who posted videos about the rapture, they themselves made their own claims. Like some of them had like mathematical computations to prove that the rapture was supposed to take place in September 23 or 24. Some of them use astronomy. Some of them use the biblical prophecy or the certain revelations, and then many of them also shared that they themselves received dreams and visions that that Jesus was coming, or the rapture is supposed to happen September 23 and 24, and that's the reason why it blew up in social media. Um, and actually, I'm in my previous live, I mentioned the aftermath of this prediction that happened, and most of it is actually it's not a good report. It did not have a good impact as far as I'm concerned. Well, others have different point of view, and it's okay. Others may not agree with me, and it's okay also by me. So, but anyways, I just want to bring this because Brother Joshua was again interviewed in YouTube. Apparently hours ago. Same in the same channel, Send Twins TV, and he made some claims. And actually, I took down notes, and I will be reading them to you. So, number one, he mentioned that he is for Jesus Christ. That he made that very perfectly clear. He mentioned that he is a vessel of God, and his very intentions is to point people to Jesus. Very noble of him, of course. And he also makes a suggestion that people should focus on Jesus, which is not bad. So far, so good. Then he started to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ. So again, uh, as far as I am concerned, that so far so good. Then he said that the gospel is not actually about rapture, but it's more about the salvation that Jesus came to bring. The rapture is only but secondary. Okay, so let's move on. He also starts to states that as a man of God who has Christ in his mind, or the mind of Christ, um, he only has stuff, or his very heart is just to please God. And he also distinctly made it clear that in pleasing God, most probably he might not be able to please men. So, it's like oil and water that doesn't go together. So, um, and he made it also clear that he is not here to please men. He's there to please God. And if in him, in the process, or in doing so as he's pleasing God, if the outcome is that it doesn't please men, then so be it. So because he's not there to please men, but he's there to please God. So then he talks about, once again, his very experience with Jesus Christ, re-emphasizing 2018. So this is what he claims, that 2018 Jesus appeared to him. Jesus appeared to him and told him about the rapture and giving a date specifically. And then uh, and after going back to his experience with Jesus in 2018, he then again mentioned that God revealed to him back then that he is the last arrow in the quiver of God. Okay, he is the last arrow in the quiver of God. Basically, what he meant was God was using him as the very last move before God would come and rapture the church. So he was the very last move of God. And now, because September 23 and 24 and nothing happened, just of course, we are still here. Um, a lot of people are expecting him to like apologize or make a statement. So, but he also mentioned in his recent interview that he is not going to change his stance. He's not going to change his stance. Okay. The date that is given, it is still final. Okay, he still is holding on to it. That the date that was given to him, it's final. So and of course he also mentioned that, okay, you guys might be finding this very confusing because of course we are already past September 23 and 24, and still I'm telling that the date that I received from Jesus is still the final one. So he goes on to explain that okay, let me just double check this. He goes on to explain that no one will be able to, no one else will be able to give a final prophecy. Okay, no one else will be able to give a final prophecy, or no one will ever come in the future to give a final prophecy about the rapture but him. Something like that. So I hope I did not get it wrong. So basically he's like trying to establish the authority that he has as as a minister to in this topic of rapture, or in this date of rapture, that he is kind of solidifying the fact that really he did receive from Jesus, and this is what Jesus told him, and he's standing with him. So again, he's also saying that because this went viral all over the world, he and a lot of people really responded or agreed with him, and it blew up in social media. He's attributing this, that this is the work of God, and that God is blowing his own trumpet to the world, announcing his coming. And again, he said that there are a lot of there are so many testimonies of people, coming to Christ, or people returning back to Christ. So he believes that this is the power of God. He believes that this is the work of God, and he has re-emphasized that God has sent him, and he believes that he has seen Jesus, and he believes that his message, even before September 23 and 24, it is still the message. It's still the final message. Okay, so he even went back to saying that previously he mentioned that there will be no World Cup on the year 2026. He still stands with it, and he's not hiding. He's actually at peace, and he believes that he has the truth, and the truth cannot be shaken. So, after September 23 and 24, he did a live stream, just like I mentioned a while ago, and then nothing happened. So the question is, did he lie? He actually rephrased it this way: are my words true? But he is re-emphasizing again that he is still 1 billion% sure of the rapture, that it is happening on September 23 and 24. Now, he then starts to talk about the nature and the manner of prophecy, that you eventually or initially you will only know in half, but then later on you'll know it in full. So na of course, he also mentioned that people are giving this false narrative that it was Satan who spoke to him instead of Jesus, or the Jesus that he saw was a false Jesus. Now, he is saying that he was not really moved when the date passed, and he was even able to sleep peacefully. But before sleeping, he prayed and he asked God and said, "Oh Lord, what's happening?" And then, but God was very quiet, was very silent, so he did not say anything. So he just went to sleep, and then he woke up 3 o'clock in the morning. And he actually, when he woke up, he was surprised that he was still on Earth. So basically, he was still believing that he would be raptured anytime. And then he started to pray, and then but the Lord spoke to him 3 o'clock in the morning, and the Lord spoke to him and said that he is still coming. Jesus is still coming, and he will be coming days from now. Days from now. Jesus is still coming days from now. Literal days, physical days. Okay? And uh, and God will show his glory. And then of course the question is, but the date that you mentioned already passed. Uh, and then he received a call from I believe a fellow minister, and that minister started to talk to him and say, "Hey, guess what? The date that you mentioned is still true. It's still uh, that is the date. That is the date. But the problem is we have been using the wrong calendar. So the calendar that we've been using is the Gregorian calendar, and the calendar that was existing or that was being used during the time of Jesus was the Julian calendar. And basically there is a difference between the Gregorian calendar and the Julian calendar, and that is 13 days. There's a difference of 13 days. So basically, since the calendar that was used at the times of Jesus was the Julian calendar, so the Julian calendar is the one that should be followed. And since there's a 13-day difference, basically the September 23 and 24 that Jesus told Brother Joshua that he is coming for the church to rapture the church, it's still intact. And if you will use the difference between the Gregorian and Julian calendar, the September 23 and 24 in the Julian calendar is actually October 7 and 8 in the Gregorian calendar, which is the calendar that we're using. So in short, what he's trying to say is that it is true that the rapture is still going to happen on September 23 and 24, but that is actually supposed to be based on the Julian calendar and not the Gregorian calendar. But since we are using the Gregorian calendar, the September 23 and 24 of the Julian calendar is actually on the October 7 and 8 of the Gregorian calendar. I hope you are getting what I'm trying to say, and you're able to follow along. So that is what he is saying right now. So basically, in a sense, the date has shifted in a sense, but he would not agree to it because he mentioned it actually in his interview that he is not like a date shifter or something like that. So, but basically, in a nutshell, that is what he is trying to say. And so that's why he's encouraging everybody, to keep the faith. Do not let the oil in your lamp burn out. God is still Jesus is still coming to rapture the church, and it's going to happen somewhere between October 7 or 8. So that is his declaration right now. he even actually used the parable of the virgins, where the virgins were waiting for the bridegroom who was supposed to come at a certain time, but then the bridegroom did not come. So it's like the same scenario that we are in right now. We were expecting the bride, Jesus, to come on September 23 and 24, but then guess what? The Jesus did not show up. Just like in the parable, the bridegroom did not show up. The bridegroom was late or was delayed, and so somehow that same concept applies even at this present situation, that there is going to be a delay. And so that's why he also made a statement saying that a delay is not a denial. So basically, the rapture is still at hand. Okay, I made perfectly clear before that my stand is I am not in favor of date setting. And again, there is another date set, uh, just as I explained. So basically, people will switch again to like waiting, uh, or being watchful, or I don't know how they will take this, but most probably they will be in that same sense like before, where they were awaiting this date of rapture. Um, I find it a little I find it a little bit funny, and honestly, I'm not trying to hurt anybody here, or try to demean anybody or condemn anybody here, but I just have certain thoughts in my head. So, which is number one, the Jewish people and the because he mentioned that the date that was given to him is related to the Feast of Trumpets. Now, if that is the case, then uh, the Jewish people, or even the nation of Israel, that did celebrate the Feast of the Trumpets last September 23 and 24. Um, I'm pretty sure in the Jewish community they had their own rabbis, or they also had their own experts, okay, concerning the date of the Feast of the Trumpets. Okay. Uh, and most probably they also did their own computation, if there is a need to make a computation to predict what is the exact date, or what is the real date, or what is the accurate date that we as a Jewish community, as a nation, a Jewish nation, or as a country, Israel, to celebrate the Feast of the Trumpets. And I believe they have their own set of experts in that area. But uh, and guess what? We're talking about like millions of people here, and still they celebrated it in last September 23 and 24. So again, my point would be, did the whole Jewish community got it wrong? Did the whole country of Israel got it wrong as far as the dates is concerned, related to the Feast of the Trumpets? Uh, were they not aware about the difference between the Gregorian calendar and the Julian calendar? Weren't they not aware that they were supposed to use the Julian calendar because they are Jewish, and that was the calendar that was being used back then in the days of Jesus? I don't know. That's just me thinking out loud. So I hope I make sense in that manner. So that's one thing. Secondly, if Brother Joshua is really claiming that it was Jesus who really spoke to him, and by the way, he declares that God or Jesus spoke to him way back 2018, and then in the years to come, he had many instances where God spoke to him, because he mentioned something that God spoke to him in, I think, 2022, something like that. So if God was already being able to have this open communication with him, and God already spoke to him back in 2018, wouldn't it be something like, why would Jesus not disclose that very important detail, that what we are using is a Gregorian calendar, we should be using a Julian calendar? Or when Jesus gave Brother Joshua the date and said, hey, I'll be coming for my church, I will rapture my church on September 23, 24. And by the way, okay, make no mistake, I'm not referring to the Gregorian calendar. I'm referring to the Julian calendar. So double check it out. Okay. So double check it out so that you will not be able to mislead people or give people false hope or something like that. Okay. Or lead them astray. Okay. I am referring to the Julian calendar and not the Gregorian calendar. So set this right. How is it that Jesus only revealed that to him after September 23 and 24, based according to them, based on the Gregorian calendar? That's just something. That's just a thought that I'm just thinking out loud. So, yeah. So, and by the way, other people have in social media, they have their own confirmation, they have their own revelations, they have their own, like, God spoke to them directly, and they had visions and dreams and computations and astronomy and many other things. Why? And those people who have received confirmations on their own, of their own, they also said that, hey, you know what? It's gonna be September 23 and 24. And then why is it that now they're like saying, okay, we were basing it on the Gregorian calendar, should be the Julian calendar. When God spoke to them and when God showed them visions and dreams and whatever that may be, why was not God clear to them? If God was already giving them details about it, why was God not clear to them? Why was not God giving them definite clarity of information or details concerning the rapture? Because they themselves also were waiting, because they themselves were also aspiring, or they knew in their heart that that was the day. So those are some of the things that I'm thinking right now. And okay, so and here's another thing. If we are going to be, okay, because a lot of people, especially when the date was has been set by Brother Joshua and many others, they mentioned September 2024. Now, again, going back to what Brother Joshua said, he said that Jesus appeared to him face to face and told him that September 23 and 24, I'm going to come for my church, I'm going to rapture the church. Now, here's my thing. He is also using the Bible. Actually, in the recent interview with the Saint Twins, he was using the Bible. He was using it as a reference. So if the Bible is still a reference that we are using, and Brother Joshua is also using, now, a lot of people who were not in agreement with the date setters, in date setting, they mentioned the scripture by Jesus Christ in the Gospels, which is, nobody knows the day or the hour. Okay, nobody knows the day or the hour. Okay, so that's why a lot of people are against the idea of date setting. And not only that, Jesus also mentioned that the angels don't know it. He himself does not know it, but only the Father in heaven. That's what he mentioned. Okay, let me just lay that down. And Brother Joshua is saying that Jesus appeared to him and told him the date. So I hope you're getting where I'm coming, what I'm trying to point out. If Jesus himself said in the Gospels that he himself does not know the day or the hour, and now Brother Joshua is claiming that it was Jesus appeared to him face to face and told him and gave him a date, I think there's like some kind of contradiction there. So yeah, it's something again, I'm thinking out loud. So eh, ah, so yeah, I'm just gonna leave it to that. So uh, I leave it to you guys who are listening. You be the judge, uh, and you come with your conclusion. Be guided by wisdom. Be guided by God, of course. And now, if you would not agree with me, it's okay. It's okay. To each their own. Um, if you have a different belief or a different take on this, it's okay. To each their own. I'm not here to, um, uh, see, be a mocker or a scoffer. I'm not here to do that. I'm not here to condemn anybody. I'm not here to to put any person down. But I just want to share my mind to you guys as others are doing so. But of course, I leave it to you to decide uh, what is your conclusion and what will be your belief. So they say that the rapture is going to happen in October 7 or 8. So let's see. Let's see if the rapture is going to happen on October 7 or 8. Um, but if we are still here, if there's one thing I would request is that let us all please be guided with wisdom and live our lives the way it should be. Okay, so that's it for now. Thank you guys. If you've been listening, I've done a live for more than 30 minutes now. So I hope this will help others. And again, um, yeah, okay, so this is the last thing before I end this video. So my take and my belief is stop, with the date setting, stop being focused on, when is the day or the hour that Jesus is coming or the rapture of the church is going to take place. Stop being so, sorry for the lack of term, but stop being obsessed with it. My advice would be this: live your life in accordance to your God-given purpose. Okay, live your life in accordance to your purpose. And I, for one, believe that if you live your life in according to your purpose or God-given purpose, you will live a fulfilled life. Okay, you will live a fulfilled life. So just focus on that. Stop being hooked up with this date setting and all. Just focus on Jesus, focus on living your God-given purpose. You will live a fulfilled life, and just enjoy life, because I believe that that is still the desire of God, that He wants us to give us life and for us to have it abundantly. So enjoy life, and yeah, enjoy God's love, God's grace, God's goodness, God's mercy. Enjoy it to the full. Okay then. So that's it for now. Thank you so much po, and shalom everybody.